Hello, Dippers, and welcome to the post-draft special of Humpday Hoops Hysteria. I uphold Cody's promise and brought Humpday Hoops Hysteria through every week of the NBA Finals, and I'm going above and beyond now, having a post-draft special. But of course, I couldn't have done any of this without my glorious co-host, our St. Louis correspondent, Fletcher Hoig.
Leighton, you haven't heard it in this draft, but the last two, it was very prevalent when Ben Simmons and Markelle Fultz didn't make it to the NCAA tournament. You hear people saying they're not winners. Winners, right?
Yeah.
And winners, that's one of those generality terms I hate in sports. It's like Brad Stevens' system. Oh, in his system you can do so well. It's a generality thing. You don't know what you're talking about. Well, you know who else didn't make the NCAA tournament the year he came to the NBA draft?
Who?
Steph Curry. And he's done a lot of winning in the NBA. And you know who was a winner in college?
Who?
Tim Tebow. He's playing minor league baseball now. You ever heard of him?
I have heard Tim Tebow, yes. I think Cappy from Ducks on the Pond is a big fan of the old Tim Tebow.
Yeah, so being a whole winner in college thing, that's for the birds.
We talked about him already. You listen to Cappy every Sunday on Ducks on the Pond. Listen to Sauce on the Side, Mothership Show every Monday, and Knuckle Sandwich every Thursday. And as you already know, we're bringing this to you a day late due to some technical difficulties and some pretty poor scheduling arrangements. But, oh well, we got it to you. So without further ado, I'm going to drop the noise.
Humpday Hoops Hysteria.
A Sauce on the Side production.
As always, make sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at The Saucy Pod. It's us on iTunes, and we are now on Spotify.
Woohoo!
Do you know who probably has Spotify Premium?
Brandon?
Every pick we'll talk about today, and also probably Brandon. Yes. So we'll start with the first 8 picks in the NBA draft. First overall pick, DeAndre Jordan. We talked about basically all season how neither of us were surprised by this. Expected. Your thoughts on the first pick overall?
He reminds me a lot of DeAndre Jordan.
Oh, why?
No, I was just kidding. Not at all. That was just from the shittiest takes that you guys had on Monday.
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure DeAndre can only dunk the basketball.
Yeah. Now, DeAndre Ayton, he's probably one of the more skilled and polished big men that we've had come out of the draft in recent memory. Picks and pops, pick and roll, post up, mid post, shoots a free throw percentage well, defends, rebounds. He, for a big guy, man, he has literally no holes in his game. And I'm really excited to see what he can do in Phoenix. I think he's going to be a perennial all-star. Now, as far as being like, a dominant force like Shaq or Olajuwon or David Robinson or something like that, we'll see on that. But I think he can be, an 8, 9, 10-time all-star in his career. I think he'll get close to averaging a double-double. I'm really excited to see him play in the NBA.
Yeah, I think I will too. And the Suns, we'll talk about them again later in this draft, are one of those teams I think they can do this season with DeAndre Jordan or DeAndre Ayton.
I don't know. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs still. I mean, he and Booker together are going to be nice. Josh Jackson, Dragon Bender, hopefully they can play some time with the 4 and play a little faster now with DeAndre Ayton behind them. I think they got a good mix of I know they brought in Mikal Bridges, and I'm going to talk about that later on, but I think they got some nice pieces moving forward. I don't think they're ready to win right now or even make the playoffs right now. So,
all right. On the second pick of the draft, where's the Kings? And this is my favorite pick of the draft, actually, is Marvin Bagley Jr. out of Duke. The Kings, they have 2 young, pretty good core players in Andre Fox and Buddy Hield. And then they add this fake athlete, a 19-year-old, that has a really high offensive ceiling and is athletic enough to be a good defender at some point in time in the NBA. Mm-hmm. So I love this pick a ton. How do you feel about it?
Marvin Bagley is one hell of a player. I liked him better in Atlanta playing center next to John Collins. I feel like he's the new school kind of center in the NBA. But obviously he wasn't there for Atlanta to take. The Kings took him. In college, his defensive numbers didn't jump off the page at you. And sure, some of that might be to his defensive skills or defensive intensity. They also did play a 2-3 zone, which the 2-3 zone, the purpose of the 2-3 zone is to force teams to shoot the ball outside of the paint. In a 2-3 zone, it's pretty clogged up in the middle, so you want to force teams to shoot over the top of you. And that's what you do when you have length. A lot of times, blocks and rebounds transition to the NBA, so I don't know if he wasn't able to get blocks in college, even though the 2-3 zone didn't promote getting more blocks. I think he has a chance of becoming a good defender, but we'll see. And another thing I noticed with the Kings, their starting five, if we're going to guess it today, it goes Fox, Hield, Bogdanovich, Marvin Bagley, and then Willie Cauley-Stein. In the era of positionless basketball, I feel like the Kings team moving forward has very, very defined positions, and I don't know how that's going to work in the NBA. Especially with Fox not being a good shooter. We'll see how Marvin Bagley does stretching out to the three-point line. I'm intrigued to see where things are going to go with the Kings. I hope he doesn't fall into become a Scalabrine. I would have taken Luka Doncic, but I think he'll be a good pro. I hope he'll be a good pro.
Yeah, so we can agree or disagree on that one. Speaking of Luka Doncic, he actually went next to the Hawks, who then traded him for Trae Young and next year's first-round pick from to Dallas.
Right.
I talked about this on Monday. I was a fan that they traded the pick and got next year's first-round pick from Dallas. Because if Dallas doesn't sign Boogie Cousins, they'll probably be in the lottery again. Mm-hmm. I don't know if Johnny Jordan gets him out necessarily. But I wasn't a huge fan that they picked Trae Young to be the guy they got there. I would have taken probably Jaren Jackson Jr. at Michigan State. But they picked Trae Young. So how do you feel about the Hawks and the idea to trade Doncic for Trae Young and a first-round pick?
They better hope that Trae Young pans out, because everybody has question marks around him defensively. I mean, defending is just not Trae Young's thing. That's obvious. That's just not his forte. He's a great shooter. We'll see how well he can get his shot off in the NBA. We'll see how well he can pass and make others better like he did in college. Dallas trading that pick to get Luka Doncic, if they feel like Luka Doncic is their guy, and I think he is arguably the guy, I think DeAndre Ayton's going to be better. I think Luka Doncic, though, is going to be great. If somebody said, he averages 18 points a game for his career and gets 2 or 3 All-Stars, and that's his floor, I'm not surprised by that, and I probably wouldn't argue with it. The thing is, though, Dallas was so ready to trade that 2019 pick because as of right now, and I know it's really early, it's literally a year in advance, but the 2019 draft doesn't look super strong. Your guys at the top are tweener guys who can't really shoot yet. You look at a guy like Zion Williamson, his physical profile, okay, back up. In high school, he's, according to ESPN, he's 6'6", he's 270 pounds. He has no real jump shot. You look at his high school tape, yeah, it blows you away. And a lot of times, though, the kids that he was playing against, they look like kids that I played against in high school. And
they're skinny white kids.
Yeah, and Zion Williamson, looking at me and looking at him, Zion Williams would handle me pretty easily. He's going to Duke. We'll see how he does at Duke. But even guys like R.J. Barrett, what's their position going to be? Do they have a jump shot? So as of right now, that 2019 draft doesn't look super strong, especially even the guys at the top. So I think Dallas moving to get Doncic is a good move. The draft doesn't look super strong yet, and plus they're going to get a guy who just simply can't bust. I mean, everyone after the draft now they're saying that he is actually 6'8", and so putting him at the 2 or the 3 next to Dennis Smith Jr., I like that pick a lot. I like the trade a lot.
So we covered the top 3 picks. We're both pretty okay with the picks. We're taking Doncic at 2. I'm taking Bagley at 2. So only one change there. We'll step all the draft for a second. Actually, talk about what's happening in the league. We had the NBA awards last weekend, and the awards went like this: MVP was James Harden, Coach of the Year was Dwayne Casey, Rookie of the Year was Ben Simmons, Sixth Man of the Year was Lou Williams, and Most Improved Player was Victor Oladipo. I'm fine with really all these picks. I thought Dwayne Casey was, honestly improperly fired. Ben Simmons was the best rookie all season. Lou Williams was the sixth man all season. And Victor Oladipo was absolutely undoubtedly the most improved player in the league, becoming an all-star in Indiana. Me and Phil talked about this a few times on Hysteria this year about the MVP award. We both think it should be LeBron James, and Fletcher can tell you why.
Yeah, so I already did this once. I'll do it again, though. LeBron, for total season accumulation of these stats, he has more points, rebounds, assists, field goal percentage, 3-point percentage, minutes, games, and triple doubles. The only thing is James Harden beats him at is averaging 3 more points per game than him, which I guess is what all that mattered as far as the MVP was concerned. I want to go to something that Derrick Rose said during the first round of the playoffs while the Houston Rockets were busy sweeping him. He said after the game one time, he said James Harden's a great player, something to the effect of James Harden's a great player, but then he says, he's definitely the MVP. There are a few definitelys in the world, and saying that James Harden this year of all years was definitely the MVP is not one of them. One definitely is like saying exercising is definitely good for you. Smoking cigarettes is definitely bad for you. Those are examples of definitelys. Saying James Harden is definitely the MVP this year was definitely not. You're right. It was just not that. It was definitely not a definitely, okay? So I think they got that one wrong. I think that LeBron James obviously deserved it. I think the Rockets were a playoff team without Harden this year, and I think the Cavs were a shit-ass lottery team without LeBron this year. The Coach of the Year, I would have given it to Pop or Brad Stevens. You look at a guy like Phil Jackson who's won 11 titles, and he only has one Coach of the Year, so go figure that one out. Rookie of the Year, Ben Simmons. He is technically a rookie. If you want to argue at the technicalities of a rookie, saying that you have to play within your draft year, that's whatever, but that's not the rules right now. So Ben Simmons, far and away my Rookie of the Year. Sixth man, Lou Williams, totally agree. Victor Oladipo, totally agree. So those are my opinions on the award ceremonies.
So why do you think James Harden won the MVP? Like you said, he only beat him with averaging 3 more points a game. Well, just because the Rockets were the best team in the regular season, and if the Cavaliers won, 56, 57 games, would that be it totally different?
I think there were just a few narratives at play this year that really took a hold of the NBA. One of them is, he led the league in scoring. The other one is he played on the team that had the best record in the NBA. And the other one that no one is willing to admit, but it's like the SportsCenter highlight, shiny new toy effect. People see that and it's, James Harden. Wow, Somebody said James Harden was in his bag all year. Well, if James Harden was in his bag all year, then I guess LeBron James would have to been in like Santa Claus's bag all year because LeBron James's numbers were better. It's kind of weird to me and almost disappointing in a way that people would vote James Harden just because the numbers just aren't even close. And LeBron carried a shitty team way farther than James Harden ever could have. So, and James Harden had a fantastic, amazing, smart coach. He has, Chris Paul, who's one of the top 10 point guards ever. He has Clint Capella, who is looking like an amazing center, and he's got plenty of guys who are D&3 guys who defend and shoot really well. So,
yeah. And speaking of LeBron James, tomorrow at 1 o'clock Eastern Time is the deadline for him to opt in or out of the contract with Cleveland Cavaliers. So with free agency starting tomorrow and this whole big race to Kawhi Leonard to try to sign LeBron James,
right.
What do you think we can expect to happen from starting tomorrow, basically through until LeBron James or Paul George sign?
Well, I'd like to go ahead and just start on LeBron James first. Even if he opts in, well, first off, I expect him to opt out. And so if I see him opt out, one or two places I think are really only logical at this point based on what we've been reading and seeing and hearing. And that's Cleveland or the Lakers. So there's that. But even if he opts in, don't buy into that he's for sure going to stay in Cleveland because he could do a sign and trade just to get more money that way or stay locked in where he's at with his money.
Sorry, Dippers, for the noise. Don't worry, though. Those poundings were just raindrops, not gunfire. No one was being shot at. So let's continue with talk about free agency and LeBron and Paul George.
Yeah, so with Paul George, he didn't opt into his player option. That makes a lot of sense financially. He would make more money either signing with the Lakers or with the Thunder based on that. Based on where his previous salary was and opting out of it, he would make more money either way with either team. So you're not surprised to see him opt out. He is apparently rumored to have already signed with the Lakers in theory or in secret with Magic Johnson. That's what a couple NBA beat writers in Los Angeles are saying. I know it's Los Angeles, so it could be biased. There have been some rumors that get put out that he is interested in coming back to Oklahoma City Thunder, and from those same writers that I read from, It's that those rumors are being put out strictly by Russell Westbrook's agent. So I'm not sure what to think. I don't think that he is going to be staying in Oklahoma City, though. I think he's going to go out to Los Angeles and become a Laker.
I definitely tend to agree with you on that one. What do you think happened with Kawhi Leonard?
Kawhi Leonard, I was going to talk about this in the draft with their draft pick, but we can go ahead and discuss it now. So they drafted Lonnie Walker, and I'm sure a lot of the Dippers might not know who Lonnie Walker is, but Lonnie Walker was a shooting guard. He started the year injured for the Miami Hurricanes. He got better as the year went on, so there's not that injury concern. His numbers and percentages got better and better. One of the guys who runs Draft Express, the YouTube channel, and now they're partnered with ESPN and do the NBA draft together. They said that they projected him to go 10 to 12 based on his talent. They expected him to be a lottery pick, so I think it's a shock to everybody that he dropped all the way down to 18 to the Spurs. But like I said, the Draft Express guy said that he had 10 to 12 talent, but he was top 5 athletically in the draft. And so you look at a guy like Lonnie Walker, that talented, that athletic, going to the Spurs at 18, being on the Spurs, they're going to make his shooting better, his handle and his IQ better. The same thing they did with Kawhi Leonard. So drafting a guy like Lonnie Walker is huge for them. And the Spurs, they're kind of Pop in the Spurs front office. They're being a little rigid with this because when Kawhi Leonard comes out and says, "I want to be traded," or "I want out of San Antonio, I want to be traded to the Lakers," and then he even doubles down on that later and says, "If you trade for me, it's more than likely going to be a rental because I'm going to go to Los Angeles in the offseason." When you hear that, that really bodes things well for LA, because teams like the Celtics, the 76ers, they're going to want to give up less and less, you would think, just for a rental on what was going to be Kawhi Leonard or what you anticipate to be a rental. So what that really does, that really controls things for the Lakers. And so you need to trade Kawhi Leonard, for the best possible trade scenario, whether it's in the Western Conference or not. And that's not what they want to do. They want to get him out of the West. But at the same time, you need to do what's best for your team in this trade. So whether that be trading him to the Lakers or some other team that's willing to take a gamble on him, that's what it takes. More specifically, though, I'll just go ahead and talk about this now, too. I was going to say this in the draft. On draft night, the Clippers offered the 12 and 13 pick and Tobias Harris for Kawhi Leonard, and they said no. And I told you guys about that in our group text. And, at first I was initially shocked, but then when I thought about it, in all reality, they have until the trade deadline to move Kawhi Leonard. And the 12 and 13 pick, they can watch them play out, see how good they are, and then explore that trade again. Or they could hold out and try to work things with the Lakers. And if I were the Spurs and I'm looking at the Lakers as the only real viable trade destination for Kawhi Leonard, where I'm going to send him, or I'm going to send him to the Lakers, obviously, yeah. But what I'm going to ask for is, you give me, and it's tough to do this, you're going to have to take a bite here because the Lakers really do kind of control things based on with what Kawhi Leonard has said. What I would do is I would trade Kawhi Leonard for Kyle Kuzma, Brandon Ingram. You bring him in with Lonnie Walker and Dejounte Murray. That's a pretty good 4 young core to move around and build around as you're moving forward in San Antonio. But the Lakers, they're going to be a little reluctant to do that themselves. So the way that I would make it work is if I were the Spurs, I would also say, give us Luol Deng and we'll eat that contract. We'll get it off your books. I think that's a really good trade for the Lakers. It frees up more cap space. The Spurs get really young talent to pair with Lonnie Walker and Dejounte Murray. I think that's a trade that works out for everybody.
Okay. And one more thing on the Kawhi to Lakers trade. One name I haven't seen brought up at all has been Lonzo Ball.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think this is because Pop just does not want to deal with LeVar Ball?
It
and
could
all
be
that bullshit? Because I feel like Pop would make Lonzo really, really good. And I feel like the Lakers would do Lonzo and Kuzma and draft pick for Kawhi Leonard. It means they got LeBron James too.
Right. Yeah. So I think the reason that you haven't heard Lonzo Ball been brought up at all is because Chris Paul has been rumored to say that he does not want to go to LA now. Like, he wants to retire to LA, but he does not want to play or live in LA right now. He wants to stay in Houston and build on what he already has. So with that being said, if they don't have an all-star point guard coming in like Chris Paul, I think
the Lakers are logically saying, well, let's at least keep Lonzo, especially if we're going to get Kawhi Leonard, who does not play the same position as Lonzo. We'll just go ahead and keep Lonzo. He's a 6'6", 6'7" point guard. He's a good defender. He averaged 10, 7, and 7 as a rookie. He's gotten bigger and stronger in the offseason. So if you were to bring in, theoretically, LeBron, Paul George, and Kawhi Leonard, you know, you could keep Lonzo Ball and then just switch 4 guys, play positionless basketball. I think that's what the Lakers are trying to eye and do now since Chris Paul's off their radar.
Yeah, that would make a lot of sense. One thing that does make a whole lot of sense to me is number 4 pick in the draft. Back to the draft now. The Grizzlies picked Jaren Jackson Jr.
Yep.
I'm not sure what they were thinking of this pick because they were trying to rebuild. You think they would trade Michael Conley and Marc Gasol for more picks? Or trying to compete, you think they'd almost move the pick for a good player or draft a player that they think could help them right now?
Yeah.
You scouted Jaren Jackson Jr. and you like the ceiling, but I think he's still too raw. And I don't know if he'll ever become where he can possibly be. So, how do you feel about the 4th overall pick?
Since his post game is so underdeveloped, as far as offensive post game that is so underdeveloped, I feel like a lot of time he's just going to be standing out at the 3-point line because he did shoot a good percent in college. He didn't have that many attempts per game, but he was efficient in the attempts he took. I think he's going to be relegated to standing at the 3-point line or playing center with the backup unit, pick and rolling, short corner kind of stuff. And then they'll mix him in with different rotations, shooting the 3 ball. I don't know what the Grizz are trying to do. Jaren Jackson doesn't put him over the top at all. They need to, if they should have looked at trading the pick to get another All-Star or All-Star caliber player, or move Conley and Gasol, because the direction they're going in makes no sense to me, at least. I'm sure not to a lot of people as well.
Yeah, and I guess we have to just wait out and see maybe they're planning to trade Conley and Gasol in the season or something. Only time I can really tell. On to the number 5 pick, Dallas Mavericks picked Trae Young, but of course he got traded for Luka Doncic and the Mavericks' first-round pick. And another possible Dallas trade means that they could get under Jordan from the Clippers, or possibly even sign him free agency or sign Boogie Cousins. So how do you feel about what the Mavericks are going to do this season? Because it seems like they're definitely trying to win now.
Yeah, so I like the Luka Doncic trade. I think Dennis Smith, Luka Doncic, Harrison Barnes, I think that's a good mix right there, especially if you go out and sign a guy like Boogie Cousins, or you do a sign and trade with the Clippers for DeAndre Jordan. It's going to be hard to make the money work for Boogie. I think you're still going to have to pull off a trade somewhere, or Mark Cuban, I know he's willing to spend, so he might not worry too much about the luxury tax. But with the Clippers seeing DeAndre opt in, it's pretty evident, and then also them trading for Marcin Gortat, trading Austin Rivers away like that, it's pretty evident they're going to do a sign and trade. And I think it's also really evident that they're going to do a sign and trade for Wesley Matthews. The money works out both ways on him. They will swap both players, and it fills a need for both of them. The Mavericks need a center, and they already had their shooting guard filled because of because of Luka Doncic. And then the Clippers are going to need that shooting guard to put in there because they lost Austin Rivers, but now have an extra center. So it makes sense logically. I think I like the Dallas Mavericks moving forward. I think I like them more than the Clippers just because the Clippers have shown for their franchise's history that they're pretty fucking awful. I like what Dallas is doing. They're adding a player, an all-star potentially caliber player at shooting guard. They're pairing him next to Dennis Smith Jr. He's looking like he could be a star. Harrison Barnes is already a 15 to 18 point guy. They bring in a dominant center, either Boogie or DeAndre Ayton. This is going to be a problem for sportscasters all over America. If they bring in DeAndre Jordan, I think it's going to be. I like their direction a lot more, even though I do like the picks for the Clippers. But
yeah, and okay, moving on to number 6, another center they possibly could have taken is Mo Bamba. I love Mo Bamba. I don't love him going to the Magic. How do you feel about this pick?
I like Mo Bamba a lot. Him going to the Magic definitely worries me. I said before there that if he went to the Magic, I could see him kind of his flame petering out. But the more I think about it, man, like I said before, rebounding and blocking shots is what carries to the NBA from college. And he did that a lot in college, and he's going to do that a lot in the pros. He might not ever be that dominant player they're looking for, but at the same time, man, he's gonna average a double-double and 2 blocks for his career, I bet. So if he gets the playing time.
Yeah, at the very least, he'll be a really good rim protector. I mean, he has 7'10" wingspan.
Yeah, and one last thing about the Magic is apparently the Pacers are trying to get their power forward Aaron Gordon off of them, and they're really trying to pursue him now in free agency. So I'm kind of excited about that as a Pacers fan. I hope Aaron Gordon comes here, continues the three-point shot, him, Miles Turner, Oladipo. I think that could be a good core moving forward, as good as we're going to get at least.
Yep. And going from a center that I love to a center that I absolutely hate, the Chicago Bulls at pick 7 took Wendell Carter Jr. I think the Bulls had the worst draft out of any team this year. So what's your hype about number 7 pick?
You know, we saw Michael Porter Jr. drop to 14, and I was thinking for the Bulls, fuck, just draft Michael Porter Jr. Whatever reason they decided against that. I would, because obviously the red flags and stuff, the injury concerns with Michael Porter Jr. that came out, and we're all aware of that now. But man, fucking take Kevin Knox. Wendell Carter Jr. 6'10", 250, can't shoot, played in the zone defense in college. He's undersized for center. What the fuck's he gonna do? That's a stupid fucking pick in my opinion. I think they should have taken Kevin Knox, a guy who could play the 3 or the 4. You pair him alongside Chris Dunn and Levine and Lauri Markkanen. I think that's a good core moving forward, especially if you put Lauri Markkanen at the 5, Knox at the 4, whoever, you can mix and match lineups there. Gar Forman, you're fucking stupid for drafting Wendell Carter Jr.
Yeah,
if you're listening.
I don't like Wendell Carter Jr. at all. To be honest, it took me till November to realize who he was. Because I knew that Duke had this good player named Carter, but then I watched a Duke game, and he was a center. I was like, the guy isn't doing anything.
Yeah, no shit. It's like you play next to Marvin Bagley the third in a zone defense and then in the Duke offense, and you just happen to be there, and then you were big and huge in high school, so you dominated kids. I don't think he's going to be shit in the NBA, to be honest with you.
I agree 100%. One player that I will think will be shit in the NBA, Cavs number 8 took Colin Sexton. The pick surprised me, but I like the selection, thinking they're not going to get like LeBron James. And now I know that Michael Porter Jr. might not play next season, I think it's making a whole lot of sense for the Cavaliers. How do you feel on pick number 8?
Again, I think it was smart. Or again, I think they chose between Sexton and Knox, and then obviously went with Colin Sexton. Colin Sexton is tough. He's athletic. And, he can really get downhill on the fast break and on the pick and roll. Where he's got to improve is obviously his offensive shooting for most of the year. He was fairly inconsistent from shooting from 3, and that line's only getting farther back, He's got to improve his decision-making in the pick and roll. He was inconsistent with that at times. People want to fall in love with the 3-on-5 game and then the SEC tournament, and he played great in those 2 instances I just named, but you can't exclude the body of work. And in the NBA, it's a grind, and it's not all flash, it's not all show, especially when you're playing, a back-to-back on your 5th road game in February. Like that's not flash. That's just toughness, which he does have. But for Colin Sexton, he's going to a very inconsistent ownership group, a very unstable franchise, and on top of that, there hasn't been. I found this out. This is an odd stat. There hasn't been a player selected at draft pick 8 who's been an All-Star since 1993, and I can't even remember his name because he wasn't very good. So he's got those 2 things of history going against him, but Colin Sexton does have a particular skill set, and I hope he finds his niche in the NBA.
Me too. He's definitely one of my favorite college players to watch.
Yeah.
Just to preface the next 4 picks, I've thought all these teams should take a Michael Porter Jr. before I knew that he could be injured for longer period of time. Number 10, the 76ers took Mikal Bridges. They then traded him to the Phoenix Suns for next year's first-round pick, and Zaire Smith, who our co-host Brandon from Monday thinks is a lockdown defender the 76ers need to have, push him over the top. How do you feel about pick number 10?
Well, I've got bad news for you because it's not next year's first-round pick. It's Miami Heat's 2020 first-round pick that's unprotected. So
that's garbage.
Do you want to edit that out, or you want to keep going?
No, keep going. Why the fuck would they do that?
I don't know. Well, it's unprotected, so I guess it has a lot of value. Anyway, so like I said, it was traded for Miami's 2021 first-round pick. It's unprotected, which gives them a lot of desirability, I guess. I don't know, since it's unprotected, and who knows where the Miami Heat could be in 3 years. They could be in the shit tank, or it's Pat Riley. He could pull something off, but I don't think he's going to pull anything off as of right now. I like the pick immediately for Mikal Bridges. He's an athletic guy. He's a guy who can spot up and shoot. He can get his own shot at times. He's a good defender, capable defender, being 6'7", at the shooting guard spot. And then the story behind him being from the Villanova and the Philly kid and his mom working in HR. It's a great story. I think it was unwise for them to trade for that pick and Zaire Smith, even though it was unprotected and even though there is some room for hope and potential in Zaire Smith, because apparently what they've been doing is trying to trade it for Kawhi Leonard potentially, which I think is a dumb decision right now if you're anybody but the Lakers. So I think they should have kept Mikal Bridges. I think Phoenix made out like a fat rat in this draft getting Mikal Bridges and
DeAndre Ayton.
Yeah, DeAndre Ayton. I almost said DeAndre Jordan, so fuck that. But I think, Philly, in my mind, I think they did wrong on that one. I think they should have kept Mikal Bridges, but that's just me.
All right, I'm moving on to another pick that got traded. Number pick 11, the Hornets took Shea Alexander and traded him to the Clippers. I actually like this move for both teams. I think the Clippers need a point guard. They got the best one available. And the Clippers need another draft pick and a forward. They got Miles Bridges for cheaper at the next pick. So, Fletcher, go ahead and cover pick number 11 and 12.
11 and 12, so like you said, he got traded. I like Miles Bridges a whole lot. I just wonder where he's going to slide in with the Hornets and what position he's going to play. I'm not for sure what to think of it. I think he's a very good player. I think he has a potential to be an all-star kind of player. I just don't understand why he slipped so much down to this far. I feel like he's better than some of the guys who were taken, or he's going to be better pros than some of the guys who were taken, but I'm not for sure there. I have hopes for him. Great body, great defender, capable shooter. He checks a lot of boxes for you. Yeah, and the Clippers now, they have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I mentioned earlier some of the Draft Express guys and their stuff with ESPN. The guy from Draft Express actually said that he believes Shai Gilgeous-Alexander to be the best point guard available in this draft. You look at his ability to shoot, his ball handling ability, and his ability to guard multiple positions and his length at the point guard spot. He says it's obviously unparalleled in this draft. He compared him to maybe somewhat similar to that of Sean Livingston, but maybe with a more consistent jump shot. So I'm really excited for the Clippers to have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, especially with the guy that they took at 13, Jerome Robinson. So,
and speaking of pick number 13, Jerome Robinson. I didn't know about this kid coming out of college. Kind of surprised lottery pick, but go ahead and tell us a little bit about Jerome Robinson.
Yeah, Jerome Robinson. Not a lot of people know about him. He's 6'5". He tested really well at the combine. He was actually one of those guys who was declared for the draft just to see kind of where his status was, and that since that he tested so well in the combine, he decided, fuck it, I'll just get me an agent and I'll stay in the draft and go make money. And Adrian Wojnarowski actually wrote a piece about him. I don't have his exact numbers on me, but he is the first guy since Antoine Jameson from North Carolina to put up these kind of offensive numbers. And so, him being 6'5", he can truly play the shooting guard spot. He tested well at the combine, and then his college numbers, you're looking at a really kind of a steal here at 13 for Jerome Robinson to the Clippers here at 13. And apparently the Hawks tried to trade pick number 30 and pick number 19 to acquire Jerome Robinson, or not necessarily to acquire Jerome Robinson, but to have the 13th overall pick. And the thing that kept the Clippers from doing that trade is because they realized that there's no way they could pick up Jerome Robinson with that 19th overall pick. So they were forced to keep the 13th pick and select Jerome Robinson there. So I'm really excited for their backcourt moving forward. I still think the Mavericks have a better direction just because, they have better guys, it seems like, proven guys. They have a better ownership group and I don't know about a better coach, but an equally competent coach. So,
All right, and moving on to the last pick of the lottery, and what could end up being the biggest deal, one of the biggest deals in draft history. Nugget got Michael Porter Jr., projected to be a top 3 pick. Then he played 3 whole games at Missouri. One for 2 minutes. So, Fletcher, tell us about this pick and the fall of Michael Porter Jr.
So apparently he tested at the combine. He did some medical stuff. And he was really, really. after the combine and the pre-draft stuff, like he was really unwilling to work out privately for a lot of teams and declined workouts because of citing back spasms. But apparently, a lot of teams knew about this at the end of the combine. Apparently, he agreed to be tested or looked over rather by an independent doctor or physician from not associated with teams or anything. And then once they reviewed him, looked him up and down, gave him the tests and different stuff, that information was then given to all 30 NBA teams. And so there were obviously, I guess, some really serious concerns there, and Michael Porter Jr. was aware of it. I think going 14th to the Nuggets was actually maybe almost a blessing in disguise. I think we're going to see another Joel Embiid kind of situation where he sits out a whole year, or Ben Simmons situation, whatever you want to call it. I think he's going to sit out a whole year. And the thing is, for the Nuggets, I mean, they've been a fringe playoff team these past few years, so they don't need him to come in and be a 15, 20-point guy. Like, that's not needed right now. They could flirt with a playoff spot next year based on what they have here alone. He comes back healthy. He sits a year out, comes back healthy. You have him, Jamal Murray, Nikola Jokic. I like that group moving forward. I hope Michael Porter Jr. can become healthy and become a Kevin Durant kind of player. That's what I'm hoping for.
I do too. I hope he does become healthy and kind of player, because I feel like everybody kind of missed out on watching him play because he had to play 3 games injured. So I feel like it's a wasted great talent.
Yep.
So now move on. Now take another pick from the draft and move on to Fletcher on the fly. This segment where I ask Fletcher 3 questions, hearing what they are, he should answer them on the fly. And this week, since it's both draft special, they are all about NBA draft features. We're talking about this guy, Michael Porter Jr. Who do you think will have a better career? Michael Porter Jr. or your beloved Miles Bridges?
Man, I'm just going to say that Michael Porter Jr. is going to come back and be healthy and be an all-star caliber player. I think Miles Bridges went to a pretty unstable ownership group and unstable franchise. I don't see him doing too well there. You look at a lot of guys who have gone there and done shitty, especially guys who did good in college. I'm going to go ahead and just say Michael Porter Jr., even with the injuries turned on. I'm going to roll with Michael Porter Jr.
All right. Neither I thought you would go, honestly, but Michael Porter Jr. it is.
It wasn't easy to choose against Miles Bridges, but...
All right, on to the next question. Out of this draft, if you had to start a team with one player, who would it be?
Out of this draft?
Yes.
Man. I'm deciding. I'm going back and forth between Ayton and Doncic. I'm just going to say, based on where things are at in the NBA right now, I'm going to go with Doncic, even though I would have taken DeAndre Ayton number 1 still if I were Phoenix.
Yep.
I would take DeAndre Ayton 1 just because they have Devin Booker. They have guys at the wing. I think it made more sense for Ayton.
Yep, that's where I figured you would go with that pick, or that question. And our final question this week, who in this draft is most likely to be in the Hall of Fame?
Who is most likely to be in the Hall of Fame? That's a good one. Oh, man. You know what? I'm probably gonna. I don't know if this is gonna surprise you or not, but I'm gonna go with Luka Doncic. You look at what he's accomplished here in the EuroLeague at just 19 years old. I don't think there's any guard who could even come close to what he's doing. I mean, he's already 6'8", 230. He's got a grown man's body. He's got a grown man's mind playing against guys who are grown men and have played in the NBA. He's won championships. He's Eurobasket. He won Most Improved Player twice. Won Most Valuable Player for the EuroLeague tournament. I'm going with Doncic. I think in this NBA positionless basketball, him being able to handle it, shoot it, pass it, I think he's going to do great. I think he's going to be a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, and that is actually where I thought you'd go with that pick. Even though you say you take 8 and 1 overall, I knew you really like Doncic.
Yep.
So, and now Fletcher has some picks outside of the lottery he wants to talk about. So, Fletcher, I'll give you 2 minutes per pick. And then after I say next, if you want to chime in, I'll chime in. If not, go to the next pick.
Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and just talk about some of the other picks in the draft here. But this isn't going to be like, a Sports Center, ESPN kind of breakdown where I talk about 1 or 2 picks and then talk about how great of a kid Mohamed Bamba is. I'm going to actually break down players throughout the first round and the second round. So,
all right, good. So, Fletcher, your first selection.
The first one I'm going to start with is just Zaire Smith, the one who was traded for, Michael Bridges. I said I don't like that trade. I see why they did it, getting that unprotected pick from Miami in 2021. I mean, who knows what that could be. I think 2021 is the year that the NBA is anticipating trying to bring back high school players from the draft. I don't really know how excited you are to get high school players back, directly out of high school, that is. I don't think that's a real incentive for you to be like, yeah, let's trade Michael Bridges for that potential, trade or draft scenario. But like I said, I think they're doing it to target Kawhi Leonard. I still think that's the wrong move to make. I think they should have stuck with Bridges.
All right. Yeah, I mean, like I said, like Brandon said on Monday, he got Mo Bamba when he played Texas. And Mo Bamba saw 100%, 65%, and 75%, I think, were the numbers.
Right.
So, but Brandon thinks he'd be a lockdown defender that the 76ers need still.
Right. And that's somewhere I want to say this. People talk about Jamal Crawford in his earlier years, with the Hawks and with the Knicks. People are like, he's a shooter. It's like, well, if you're not shooting too great, and I don't really care if your best attribute's a shooter. And it's like, well, you guarded Mo Bamba. Well, he didn't do it very good, so I'm not too impressed with it. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
I hear you.
What's your next pick?
Next one we got is 17, Dante DiVincenzo. Obviously, people know the national championship game that he had. I've talked about it several times on the show. This one and the show on Monday about how he tested so well at the combine with his vertical and max vertical. I just want to say one thing that Jerry West saw or said about him while he was watching his pre-draft stuff. And Jerry West said he's one of those guys, and I hate this kind of bullshit. I really do. But when it's coming from Jerry West, I can't appreciate it and I can't think it's real because Jerry West did the same thing with Kobe. He said, watching Dante DiVincenzo work out, he said you could just tell there was something special about him. How fast he ran, how high he jumped, how physically imposing he was, just even as a 6'5" shooting guard. His athleticism, everything. And then he even went a step further. He said he compared it to watching a guy like Mark McGwire or Aaron Judge hitting a home run. Sometimes you can just tell by the sound of the bat that the guy has power. And he said it was the basketball parallel to that with DiVincenzo, watching him work out and play. So I thought that was really cool. I'm excited to see him play under Budenholzer and next to the Greek Freak. I think it's going to be really fun to watch. Say that again?
Were the Utah Jazz pissed that the Bucks took DiVincenzo? Yes or no?
Yeah, probably. I mean, they were probably wanting to get the best white guard they could in the draft, and they got the consolation prize of Grayson Allen. So,
yeah, I'm not the best consolation prize. I hate Grayson Allen. I think he could be garbage in the NBA.
Next one's 18, Lonnie Walker. We've already discussed it. The draft guys talked about him being top 10, 12 talent, top 5 athletic ability, falling 18 to the Spurs. When he got drafted by the Spurs, I guarantee there were several front offices that said, did we do the Spurs a favor by not drafting him and taking a guy that we thought was better? Did we do a favor to a franchise and to a system, a culture that does not need any favors because they're so well run and so smart? I love that pick for the Spurs. I can't believe Lonnie Walker fell. If you guys don't know who Lonnie Walker is, look him up. He's really talented. He's 6'5", but I mean, you watch his highlights. He finishes at the rim like he's 6'7". He's so athletic. I love that pick. I can't say that enough.
Yeah, and that is one guy who, again, I like better than something I've taken ahead of him in the draft. What's your next pick?
Next one is a pick you're going to enjoy discussing with me. It's number 21. It's Grayson Allen to the Utah Jazz. Right. He's gonna be a pro. I know you hate to see that. He's an okay passer. He's an okay athletically. He is a good shooter. That's what's going to keep him in the NBA. I don't know what his height is exactly, being 6'4", 6'5". So I guess there are going to be questions guarding taller, bigger athletes and players at times. The thing is, though, with Utah, they embrace such a tough identity, a tough defensive identity. He's kind of a bitch, and I don't know how well he's going to fit in that identity and that mold in Utah. So we'll see.
I agree that Grayson Allen is a bitch. Next.
Next one we have is 23, Aaron Holiday. I'm really excited about Aaron Holiday. I wish he could have played with LiAngelo Ball while he was at UCLA just so I could have seen it. So I could have seen LiAngelo Ball play in college. I like the pick for us moving forward. I believe I looked earlier today. I can't remember off the top of my head now. I was just looking at the contract situation for the Pacers. I want to say it's really unfortunate we let Lance Stevenson go. I think that we should have picked that team option up because a lot of guys have 2-year options right now with their contracts being up next year. So it's like you're not going to have a whole lot of room to sign a big name guy anyway. So why worry about that $4.1 million as it is, so keep Lance Stevenson. But Darren Collison's contract's going to be up after next year. I don't think they're super sold on Joseph Young. So I think Aaron Holiday is brought in to kind of be that backup, and I think Corey Joseph will essentially assume that starter position. So I like the Aaron Holiday pick. I'm very excited about it.
Okay. Next pick.
Next pick is 25. We have Moritz Wagner going to the Los Angeles Lakers, better known as Mo Wagner. He put up numbers that only Larry Bird and Hakeem Olajuwon have put up in the Final Four. And so congrats to the Lakers for getting the next combination of Hakeem Olajuwon and Larry Bird. No, I think it's a really good pick for them. I'm going to go ahead and talk about the Lakers pick now at 25 and their second-round pick at 47 with, son of a bitch, his name is hard to say, the guy from Kansas, Mike Kulik. I don't know how to say his name.
Okay. Everybody look up pick 47 to the Lakers.
Yeah, and somebody, if you follow me on Twitter, at me on Twitter with the pronunciation, because I don't know, Mike Kulik, I don't know how to say it. Anyway, with those two guys, Mo Wagner, 6'11", 245. He shoots it well. He's tough inside. He rebounds. I really like that pick at 25. And then at 47, with the Mike Kulik guy from Kansas, the Russian kid. He's a 6'8" shooting guard who can literally shoot lights out. I love getting both those guys. They have length. They can both shoot. And then in the case of Mo Wagner, he is tough and he rebounds. I like what they did with their two picks. I know it's not putting them over the top by any means, but in a year or two when they're developing into pros who are role players and contributing in some form or another, I think they're going to be really nice pieces together moving forward.
Before we move on, do you think that if the Lakers were going hard after Kawhi during the draft, they could trade these 3 picks and they would have Kawhi Leonard by now?
You mean to the Spurs for these picks that they had?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a possibility, I guess. I'm not entirely for sure. I was thinking, if I was the Spurs and I was trading Kawhi Leonard, I would try to get Mo Wagner in there too, just to have maybe like a center of the future kind of player. I know that's a stretch and it's probably not going to happen, but why not? Might as well fleece him for all you can if you're going to give up a guy like Kawhi Leonard. So
yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, I think they had to quite take on at this point. But what is your next selection?
My next one is 26, Landry Shamet, or Shamet. I don't know how to say his last name. Why can't these guys just have regular last names? But then here I am with the last name Hoig that's spelled Hoague. So
Mine from Tone, 16 or 13 letters in it.
Yeah, so this Landry Shamet guy, he's from Wichita State, 6'5", tremendous shooter. Some have said that he, behind Trae Young, might be one of the better pure shooters in the draft. I like him. He's a 6'5" point guard. I think he's going to be a good pro. I say good pro. I preface that by saying a player that will contribute in the NBA for an extended period of time and will have a career in the NBA. He's not going to – his flame won't, peter out and be in the Euro League or G League or something. The only question mark, though, I have with this Landry pick is he's a 6'5" shooting guard or point guard who has a tremendous shot and very gifted offensively. And they drafted a guy very similar to this last year in Markelle Fultz. And are they writing off Fultz by taking this pick? Is it an insurance kind of pick? Is it another guy who can just dribble, drive, shoot, and that's what they're trying to add to their team? I'm not entirely for sure what's going on here. And before I move off this pick, I want to talk about Markelle Fultz too. I'm sure you've seen the highlights of him doing some crazy handles and shit in an open gym.
Yeah, me and Jim by himself, and nobody got on him or even near him.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. You know who the last 76er was who did that?
Who?
Joel Embiid. Remember that? And look what he's turned into. Dominant motherfucker. So
that play 50 times a year.
Nice job, Markelle, baby. You're on the track, man. For me, the jury's still out on Fultz. I hope he does good. He had some stability and relationship problems that kept him out, and then that coupled it with the mysterious shoulder injury he had. I hope the best for Markelle.
What's your next selection?
27, Robert Williams. I talked about Robert Williams with you earlier, the guy from A&M. I think him going to the Celtics is a tremendous fit, just like the Lonnie Walker pick. I love it. He's a big athletic guy. He's going to play center. He's going to be, a rebounder, a rim protector, a roller on pick and rolls. And I told you this, and I can't hardly believe it. I've been finding these weird stats on guys. Robert Williams was only involved in 10 pick and rolls that actually involved him rolling to the basket. And it's not like he was picking and popping either, because, he didn't have a lot of those either. but 10 pick and rolls where he rolled to the basket. That's obviously not going to be the same in the NBA. You couple him in a shitload of pick and rolls with shooters spread out all over the court with Kyrie Irving handling the ball. I think he's going to contribute pretty early in the NBA. I think he's going to make some highlight plays, dunks, blocks, alley-oops. I'm excited to watch Robert Williams.
Yeah, I talked about this on Monday. I didn't like Robert Williams all coming into the draft, but we went to the Celtics. The Celtics needed rebounding, and I thought he would be good stepping into Jared Sullinger role of just focusing on rebounding. And defense.
Yeah, he's also not a fat piece of shit either, so.
He might be a piece of shit, but he is not fat.
He might be a piece of shit. I don't know the guy.
The jury's still out on his personality.
What? He might be a piece of shit because apparently he missed his introductory press conference for sleeping in. He just told him he slept in.
Off to a hot start.
He might not be a piece of shit, but he might be fucking dumb.
My God. Okay, what's your next selection?
I'm just going to go 28, 29, and 30 to end the first round here. So 28, we got Jacob Evans. Shooting guard, good shooter. Normally you think whatever, this pick, if he went, like, let's say he didn't go 29, let's say he didn't go 28, let's say he went 29 to the Nets. I don't even give a fuck. But I think, just being honest, I think him going 28 to the Warriors, their cap situation, they're about to fall into the repeater tax, which is where you stay in a luxury tax for so long, and then that tax percentage that gets put on your salary cap situation really starts to balloon up. So go look up their future cap situation on the repeater tax. But Jacob Evans, he's a good guard, a good player, and he's going to a culture that's like a Villanova-type culture that's going to like lift him up and make him even better. You saw how Jordan Bell contributed throughout the year in the regular season, I think, and even some of the postseason. And Kevon Looney, a guy who stayed on the bench and gotten better and better each year, what he's done this year. I see a similar mold for him with Jacob Evans, and I'm really excited to see him get better. So,
All right.
Nothing to add to that one?
No.
Okay. All right, so the next guy, I think I know how to say this guy's name. Number 29, the 29th overall pick to the Brooklyn Nets, Zanan Musa. He was selected from Latvia, so he is a fellow countryman of Kristaps Porzingis. But he's another guy. He's 6'7", 6'8", plays the shooting guard position, long, athletic, fluid athlete, great shooter. If it wasn't for Luka Doncic and how amazing he was, people would be probably overdrafting this guy because they would probably view him as the best European prospect available. I like him going to the Nets. I like the young core that the Nets kind of have. And then after this year, they're going to have 2 max slots available. I think that he could, another guy that I've been talking about here, like Moritz Wagner, all these guys that I've been talking about in this later first round, I think they're going to contribute in some way or another. And I think you'll know who their names are if you're, somewhat of a consistent basketball fan, a consistent NBA fan. So Danzana Musa, I don't know how to say his first name. Who cares? But last name Musa from Latvia. I'm sure you don't have anything to add to that pick either, do you?
Nope.
Okay. And then the last one of the first round is Omari Spellman, a guy from Villanova. The Hawks in this draft, I mean, you can question the Trae Young, Luka Doncic trade, but after that, man, they just took players who can shoot the ball. And Trae Young, Omari Spellman, and then even Kevin Huerter, I really like those picks. Guys who can shoot the ball, I think they're going to be moving in the right direction as well. So I wanted to hit on Omari Spellman as well.
All right. So that's it for the first round. First, what is probably your favorite pick of the first round before we move to the second round?
This is going to be a surprise for you. I really, with Fizdale in New York, with the young guys that they have there, Kristaps, hopefully he can come back and be healthy. I really like the Kevin Knox pickup. I think he can play multiple positions. They can run lineups where whenever Kristaps comes back healthy at the 5, and then Knox at the 4, the 3, they can move things around. I really like the Kevin Knox pick.
Interesting. I really thought you were going to say Luka Doncic.
Yep. No, not this time.
Shock this time. Before we go to the second round, are you going to cover pick 31?
Elie Okobo? No, why?
Okay. So, going to the second round, I thought that if the Suns took Jalen Brunson, they would destroy the draft, and the core of Brunson, Booker, Bridges, Josh Jackson, and Andre Ayton could be really good in 3 or 4 seasons because I feel like Brunson, he's not like an insane athlete, but I feel like he's going to be in the NBA, and he always can't miss his floor.
Right. I hear you on that one. There are some people who really like Elie Okobo. he did put up some impressive stats in what is
France.
it, like the France? Yeah, the French National League. He averaged. Let's see here. I got the numbers right in front of me. Yeah, this last year he averaged 29 points a game in France. He's a super athlete. He shot 93% from the free throw line. He shot. I don't have all the numbers in front of me, but he shot a really high percentage from the three-point line as well. He could bust. I'm not saying that he's better than Jalen Brunson. I feel like Jalen Brunson has a safer floor, but Okobo, I can't really argue with it. So
what is your next selection or next week we'll talk about?
I wasn't even going to talk about Elie Okobo, but the one right after him, Javon Carter. Do you know who Javon Carter is?
Nope.
His
name's familiar. Yeah, dude, from West Virginia.
Yeah, the point guard from West Virginia. I like him. I like the fact that 2 years ago I was watching him a lot when they were, playing then, and he can't shoot for shit, and he had a really shitty hairline then, and then he just slicked the dome back this year for his last year at West Virginia, so I like him a lot. He's a super athlete. He's a super defender. A lot of people compare him to having a Patrick Beverley kind of role in the NBA, and I think he really fits into that Memphis grit style. I don't think that Memphis grit style is going to be winning you shit anymore for the rest of the NBA for the foreseeable future. But I like that pick for him. I think he's going to be a good player. If he ever learns to shoot, he's going to be in the NBA for a long time.
Yeah. What's the next selection in the draft?
The next one is the Knicks pick is 36 overall, Mitchell Robinson, the guy who was going to go to Western Kentucky and then just suddenly left.
Yeah.
He's put on some weight. He's a big guy now, and I'm really excited about that. Obviously, you didn't get to see his skill set in college, which is kind of a shame, and I wish I could have seen that so I could better evaluate this guy or have a better opinion on the guy, but I really like that pick. He's another guy who's a big, fluid athlete. I saw a tape of him. This is kind of crazy. He started at the three-point line on the other side of the court, and it took him only one dribble to get into the lane and dunk. That's how big and long this guy is, and that's really fucking that's really fucking impressive. And so if he can shoot, if he can, if he's athletic, play above the rim at all, I think the Knicks did a really good job in this draft with Mitchell Robinson and Kevin Knox. So we'll see what happens with Mitchell Robinson. I hope he becomes like starter potential and a second-round steal guy.
That'd be cool. What's your next pick?
Next one, we're skipping all the way down to 44, and we're talking about my boy Isuf Sanan. He is the one. Yeah, he's the one who I mentioned as like a possible steal in the draft on the show last time I was on Monday. And so Isuf Sanan got selected 44th overall by the Washington Wizards. So basically, he's fucked because he's going to play behind John Wall and Brad Beal. So he's not.
Austin Rivers too.
Austin Rivers, yeah, he's not going to be up to shit for a while now. So I just wanted to say that he did get drafted. I feel good calling a second-round guy actually getting drafted. That's kind of impressive in my opinion. But the next one I was going to talk about was 47, but I already talked about that. It's the Mikhailuk from Kansas. And I'm actually pretty confident that's how you say his last name.
Mikhailuk sounds like I've heard it been said before.
Yeah.
Someone who definitely knows.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and spell his first name, and let's see if we can pronounce it. It's Sviatoslav Zavitoslav Mikhailuk. I don't know how to
I mean, that's good enough for me, man.
Yeah. Next one, we're going to skip all the way down to, since we skipped Mikhailuk, we're going to skip all the way down to 51. My boy Tony Carr, another guy who I talked about on the show from Monday, got drafted in the second round from Penn State, the point guard. He's gone to the Pelicans, so basically he's fucked too because nobody in the Pelicans is ever worth a fuck outside of Anthony Davis and Boogie Cousins and I guess playoff Rondo for this year. Actually, Drew Holiday came alive in the playoffs and actually was a second-team All-Defender or first-team All-Defender, but it only took him for fucking ever to get to this point. So Tony Carr's got a tough hill to climb up, so I'm not super excited about it.
Think you make it up the hill?
No.
All right.
If we're just being honest, I mean, New Orleans is like a place for fucking somewhat talented players, draft picks, and marginal players go to die almost, I guess. So unless you get the revive button like your Rondo here, I mean, basically he's like dead in Call of Duty and somebody revived him at the very last minute. And I don't know how Drew Holiday, I guess he just finally stayed healthy and was that talented. I don't know.
All NBA, man. All defensive team.
Yeah, I know. That's awesome. And then so the last pick is that I'm going to discuss is actually the last pick of the draft. We got through the second round pretty quick. I mean, it's the second fucking round. Who really cares that much? It's Kostas Antetokounmpo. Everybody knows it's Giannis Antetokounmpo's brother. I wanted to talk about Kostas Antetokounmpo because I'm pissed that he got fucking drafted. He played at Dayton this past year in the A-10, and Dayton is in the same conference as St. Louis University. And so I got to watch Costas, and I was really wanting to watch him again, and he's gone. So hopefully he can get in touch with Isaiah Thomas and learn how to be, the greatest 60th overall draft pick of all time. That'd be cool. So just want to talk about Costas for a second, personally.
All right. So that was a coverage of the 2010 NBA draft. Before we let everybody go, is there any player that you thought were going to get drafted that didn't?
That I thought was going to get drafted that didn't?
Yep.
I mean, I'm not too big on Malik Newman. I mean, he's going to be a pro for sure. I mean, he's already been signed by the Lakers or somebody. I was kind of surprised that he didn't get drafted, though. He lacks a true position. He's very undersized. So who would he guard? Is his handle that good enough? He's not tall enough to be a spot-up shooter to be a dead-eye kind of guy. So I was kind of surprised to see him not get drafted. I was not surprised at all to see LiAngelo Ball sitting on his ass and then still not get signed to the Lakers summer team. I mean, according to how the workout went, from what Bill Plaschke wrote, it was a fucking joke.
Yeah, I saw that he will not be on the Lakers summer team.
Yeah.
Yeah, but those are my two guys. Malik Newman, for the reason you said, I understand why you take guys like Antetokounmpo's brother over him. And LiAngelo Ball getting drafted is a crying shame. I mean, your team gets so much publicity if you draft a Ball and just put him on the bench.
Yep.
It's just good marketing to draft LiAngelo Ball to have LeVar talk shit about your team, because then everybody sees it.
You know what sucks, though? Is LeVar Ball created the JBA, and I think that LiAngelo Ball is going to be even too old come next year to even play in his dad's own fucking basketball league. What a loser.
Oh, man, the JBA. Aren't they getting paid like $3,000 a month?
It's $30,000, something like that for the season, but the season is like 8 games. It goes like a month and a half. So hats off for those kids for making some money, though.
Yeah, that's cool. I guess. What's the age limit in that?
I think it's like fucking 18 to 19-year-olds or something like that, or 17 to 19. I don't understand it. He's limiting himself. LeVar Ball, if you're listening, make it. Don't call it the fucking JBA. That's stupid. You're limiting your talent pool here. Guys who leave their families and go play in the EuroLeague, former NBA players who couldn't make it, they would much rather stay in the United States and play professionally here. So fucking make it open to 18 and up, and you don't have to go to college. And then the guys who can't make it in the pros and don't want to go overseas can play. You get grown men in your league, real talent, and improves the attendance because you get actual talent out there, not some fucking kid who can't make it to college and won't be in the NBA is going to cycle through your league in 1 year.
That is a better deal what they're doing right now, I think. And before I let you go, I guess about the last Ball brother. We're not talking about him yet. LaMelo Ball.
Yep.
Do you understand what's going on with him? He could be eligible for the draft next year. Can he go to college?
I don't think he can go to college. I think since he's had 2 technically professional contracts now for the Lithuanian team and the JBA now, and he has his own signature shoe. I think those are 3 strikes that you can't do and still play in college. So I would be surprised if he went to UCLA. LeVar Ball is doing LaMelo Ball a disservice. He should be playing high school basketball at the highest level possible and then getting ready for UCLA. Because he's 6'6" now, apparently, and he's fucking dunking the ball through his legs.
That's awesome. So he'll be on the 2020 draft, then gets drafted out of JBA.
Oh my god!
I mean, seriously, that could be a thing. Really get drafted in the lottery, and how much the NBA team think about the JBA. That could be a huge thing going forward after 2020. If he's a fucking lottery pick.
I bet he is going to be a lottery pick, and I bet he's going to be a decently high lottery pick. His ability to shoot and the fact that he's grown so much and his body is maturing physically and athletically, I think he's going to be better than Lonzo. So we'll see how it goes, though.
All right, and that's your coverage of the Ball family for the year.
Yeah, no shit.
Nippers, this has been Hysteria's post-draft special, brought to you by Shots on the Side. Make sure to listen to Shots on the Side every Monday, Shots on the Pond every Sunday, Lego Segments every Thursday. We're available on iTunes, SoundCloud, and now Spotify. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at The Saucy Pod. Fletcher, thanks for coming on. Nippers, as always, stay saucy.